The guest I have tonight actually have been here many times, and tonight he comes to me as Sri Lanka's new Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Admiral Jayanth Colombage. Welcome back, and congratulations on your new appointment. I think the correct person got the job. So my question to you, the first question, and this is your first interview after actually being appointed as the Foreign Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, you have a massive task ahead of you, dealing with the issues that is at hand. You are coming in, the president is coming in, the government is coming in at a time where the entire world is suffering from a pandemic. This you know very well at the end of the day. So what change, has things changed from what you have planned before the presidential election and right now? Is new things being added, or you'll have retracted certain things of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's foreign policy?
Well, Mahesh, thank you very much once again for inviting me. So this is, as you mentioned, the first interview I am giving. So Adaderana is not a strange place. Adaderana, I have been here many times, sitting on the same chair with you. Right?
So the question comes down to, so far, I think for, I don't know, many years, the thinking always has been in Sri Lanka in terms of foreign policy is that we have to take whatever they give. The begging mentality has been in existence for quite some time, and it is, I think, even in that entire system, it's embedded. With the way we're thinking, if the United States says something, here we go, oh my God, we have to listen to that, and that kind of an attitude. How are you, the president doesn't have that. The president wants to make Sri Lanka to stand shoulder to shoulder with every single country so we can deal in a fair and a diplomatic manner rather than, bowing down and, just letting them do whatever they want to do. Now, a very good example is the MCC agreement. Earlier on, they were very much ready to sign it. And there was so much of bad things within that agreement that would affect our sovereignty. So now the president said, no, that we're not bowing down to $50 million cash grant. So now, that is your challenge at the end of the day. For the next 5 years, you need to get a foreign service that would not bow down to foreign pressure and actually have a diplomatic method of dealing with things. How are you going to do that?
Well, Mahesh, I mean, to begin with the question, are we a small country, right? In size, yes, we are. In population, we are. But look at the attention that this little country is getting, right? Whether it is coming from USA, India, China, Australia, EU, Japan, we are the center of attraction, right? Because of the geographical location, the geostrategic value of this country. So therefore, I would argue we are a big power, right? We are a big country.
Because if you take the United States, India, Russia, even China, massively, they want to be part of this country's politics
and development and military defense. So why is that? Because we are important. So as you said, we must never think that we are a small country, island nation, we have to depend on other countries. No. Now, President has clearly said no more loans. We don't need loans, right? But what we need is, as you said, equal partners, joint ventures, build, operate, transfer, foreign direct investment.
Is not having loans, is that set in stone by the president? President is very strict on that.
It is because you see the problem in Sri Lanka is our debt to our external debt to GDP ratio is as high as 86%. That means if we earn $100, we have to repay or we have to pay $86. That's a very high figure. So we cannot afford to take any more loans. But then value what we have, the location, that should be our marketing strategy. Value what we have and make money from it, from the location, from the shipping, from the ocean. Right? So that is why the president is very keen and said, no more loans, but we are open for joint ventures, build, operate, transfer models, and foreign direct investment. But qualifying that, saying total control of any national strategic assets will not be given to a foreign power.
What does that mean?
Okay, what does it mean? That, let's take for example Hambantota port. Now Hambantota port we have given to China Merchant Port Holding for a total period of 99 years. Now in that deal, roughly, people have different ideas, but it's about 85% of that project stakes are for the China Merchant Port Holding and only 15% for Sri Lanka. Now, yes, we have our control. We will do everything so that nobody will use our country against another country. But then giving total control for a long period or majority, 85% is a very high stake. So what does it mean? That means in the future, any project, we will have 51% minimum. The balance 49 can be divided by various stakeholders who bring the money.
Now, that's a challenge because at the end of the day, if you're going to pitch this to foreign investors and they say, okay, 49% means that you can kick us out at any time you want, how exactly are you going to ensure their confidence in, bringing them here and telling Sri Lanka is a viable place for investment?
Well, Mahesh, we cannot kick anyone out just like that, although we have 51%, because these are international agreements, right? When we enter into a business venture, so that will be an internationally binding agreement. As a government, we are bound to honor it. And also there will be arbitration clauses. Should some party break, then there will be huge penalties to be paid. If unilaterally we say get out, it doesn't mean that. What it means is actually control, total control of that asset in strategic sense, right? Not necessarily the commercial sense. Commercial sense, of course, it's a 51-49. That is the arrangement. But then how we share the profit will depend on how much money they bring in. So that's a separate. But then strategically, when we want to make a decision regarding a particular country trying to use a facility in Sri Lanka against another country, that is a crucial decision we have to make. So that is what I meant by 51%. That means we have legally, we have the power to not to subject.
This is not happening at the Hambantota port?
Well, we are trying our best to recorrect what the mistake we have done. Yes, it can happen because we say the Navy is in charge of security and nothing can happen without our authority. But then you see, over a long period of time, giving that much control may not be the best option. This government will be here next 5 years, 10 years, we don't know. But then things will continue. 99 years is a very long time.
And that money is not exactly coming back to Sri Lanka.
Not really, they will earn the money. So here, I think what we need is to add value to what we already have. The land, the ocean, the location. And I think positive signs, there are many people who already talk and say, we are interested in investing in Sri Lanka, can we come? And we said, okay, we will bring you in.
This is happening for real.
It's happening for real because I think the potential of Sri Lanka is real. And we need to direct our foreign policy towards that. So this brings me to the point that you mentioned even before the interview, the president's policy of neutrality. So he wished to remain neutral.
Would that work? Now, you said that there are many countries. Let's take the United States has a very crucial interest here within this region. India, at the end of the day, I think you by yourself have told many times that we are not going to omit India in any way.
No way.
This thing, China is a big player in Sri Lanka as well. But if you take all these countries, they are fighting among themselves as well. That's a different fight. Now, Sri Lanka.
So here, the situation can be compared to a soccer field. So many people or many countries want to make Sri Lanka that soccer field. They want to come and play the game here. Now we don't want to be the soccer field. Either we should be in the team or we should be the referee, or at least the line referee. It's a difficult thing, right? When two big, many major powers are fighting. So that is what is needed. Now, if I ask you a question contrary to what you asked me, can the neutrality work? If I ask, can the non-neutrality work for us? That means, can we go with one? That will be detrimental to our progress. That will be suicidal. Say, for example, we select country A and we go fully with country A, saying, okay, we are an ally of you, militarily we are with you. That is detrimental to us, right? So it's a very difficult but can be done. Right, we have to remain neutral.
How exactly what kind of steps would you be taking? Because at the end of the day, I know United States is very much pressuring for the MCC agreement. India wants to, take a stake in our Colombo port, and that entire crisis is still going on. China is very much influential in the Hambantota port. Then again, the port city is coming. So that is another venture that needs investments as well. So how exactly will President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the ministry of yours, along with Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, the foreign minister, and you all do this? Because it's going to be a massive challenge in order to satisfy all. And being neutral, you need to satisfy all.
Well, on the other side, we don't have to satisfy anyone also. Be neutral. You are neutral and you don't have to satisfy anyone. Like when actually we are right now in the process of drafting or finalizing 20-point foreign policy directives. So number one is actually the neutrality. With that comes that we want to maintain friendly relations with everybody, and then not giving national assets to another country, and not to allow our country to be used against another country. And then we have very categorically, President has stated that we have a security-wise, strategic security-wise India first policy, because we cannot be, we should not be, we can't afford to be a strategic security threat for India, period. We can't be, and we don't have to be. So they are very big power, fastest developing major economy in 2018, 1.34 billion people, 7,500 coastline, is a huge country. We need to benefit from India. So that's there, right? So we don't have to make everyone happy. We have to make us happy.
Indeed.
Right? Not others happy. Think about you, right? Let them fight their war elsewhere, not here. But then we have to, even to India, we have, I think very firmly, President has said, you are my first priority insofar as security is concerned, but I have to deal with other players for my economic prosperity. You see, if you take President's 3 pillars of his policy, number 1 is national security. Yes. Number 2 is economic development. Number 3 is foreign policy. So that much importance he gives to foreign policy. So he has told to Indian counterpart, everybody, yes, for security we will never do anything harmful to you. But for economic purposes, we have to be open.
One of the other biggest challenges you're going to face is going to be at the UN Human Rights Council, convincing certain countries who have been very adversary towards us, telling them, they never believed on the fact that when President Mahinda Rajapaksa in his administration, when he said we will go ahead and select an internal solution to problems of our own, they did not listen to it, because they were continuously promoting the fact that we are people who actually, pretty much give bad, make things worse for our Tamil community. We are not giving them the same rights as everyone else, which is a complete lie. Now, you have another challenge there, going to Geneva, going into all these areas, but it's not exactly a challenge because you've been there defending the country all throughout your military career. So how exactly these conversations are going to be a bit trickier than before, because earlier on it was like, okay, tell us what to do, but no longer it's the case. So please tell me, what exactly is your take on that?
Well, it's a huge challenge, but I think as far as the President is concerned, Geneva is not the only thing that we should focus on. we should not be focusing on defending ourselves too much.
Yeah.
I mean, people threaten saying, okay, there'll be an inquiry, there'll be economic sanction. Okay, let it come. We will face it at that time. But if we focus purely on that and do everything to satisfy that, I think we lose focus.
That's what they did last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, so we lose focus. We lose focus about our country because we are focusing on another supranational agency to defend ourselves. So the president is not onto that, right? Now, today, this morning, when we were during a discussion, with some foreign delegates, this discussion about, what we should call it, peace building, reconciliation. I said none. Let's talk about economic development. Don't talk about peace building. We are a peaceful nation. Don't talk about reconciliation. We can reconcile ourselves. And I told them, forceful reconciliation has not worked. Right? And you cannot achieve reconciliation by having a air-conditioned nice office in Colombo and coming out with concepts, coming out with brochures, giving television shows. You can't have reconciliation. Reconciliation has to come from the community.
And one of the things that happened during President Mahinda Rajapaksa's administration is the fact that, and the opposition is now fueling that particular ideology, is the fact that apparently Sri Lanka got isolated. Sri Lanka didn't have friends. During that time, we had kings and queens from unknown countries coming as foreign dignitaries, visiting, having state visits. And President Mahinda Rajapaksa didn't even get those kind of response from countries like the United Kingdom, the United States. They were very adversarial to the government of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Now, the opposition is fueling this particular sentiment once again, saying that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's action thus far and what he's intending to do in the future is going to bring that isolation back. How do you respond?
Well, I don't think that will happen because what I saw during the last 9 months is quite contrary. What I saw is that everybody wants to come here. I mean, of course, during the COVID, we couldn't travel. Everybody wanted to have at least a video conference with the president. And every ambassador, every head of the mission here in Sri Lanka, every international organization here in Sri Lanka come to meet the president, us, and they say we have to work together, right? So I see a very different picture because I was there. And I see there is a renewed interest in Sri Lanka. There is a renewed. Now, again, let me ask you a question. Okay, there was a period, a lot of foreign dignitaries did come to Sri Lanka. What have we got? Have they really changed our economy? Have they really brought about reconciliation? Have they really brought about our development? The answer, I leave it up to you. So, it doesn't mean that just because
we are friends.
Somebody come, it doesn't mean much. But I have a feeling the moment the COVID restrictions are lifted, scores of foreign heads are going to come here, and the president and the prime minister and our team will be invited to those countries as well. Right? So that is a very good sign. We will not be isolated. That is why, I mean, I think you brought this point. Now, reconciliation, in my personal experience, is whether you are a Tamil, Sinhala, Muslim or a burgher, your requirements are very common and very
equal
basic.
Opportunities.
You need a house, you need education for your children, you need a job to earn your living or a business, and you need to have a good health system, and you need to feel secure that you are not being persecuted because you belong to an ethnic community or whether you belong to a particular religion. These are the 5 basic requirements of all people in Sri Lanka. And President is determined to address that. Right? So that is why in the morning I said, don't talk about peace building, don't talk about rehabilitation. Let's talk about economic development, because economic development encompasses a wide range of things. It goes to the livelihood of the person, right? The person. So economic development is what we need, nothing else. But I think we will be getting many friends to come.
Foreign Secretary, finally, what is your take for the next 5 years in terms of global relations, Sri Lanka and the rest of the world? it's not going to be like we've been discussing. It's not going to be like business as usual. No longer will we be falling and begging and be at the pleasing of all these nations who've been using us as some kind of again, I don't want to use these words, but that kind of an attitude. So a complete mentality, thinking has to change. What is your take? What do you think? Can we achieve that?
Well, I think we can, because we are determined to achieve that. And I think President, I remember he was telling that during the next 5 years, we have to do the work of 15 years. That is the 5 years gone by, and plan for the next 5 years. So that means we have to really work. And I think, President is a taskmaster.
Yes,
he believes in deliverables, right? So not that he give position and he would expect results. And if results are not coming, I don't think he will hesitate to change anyone. I don't think any of us are indispensable. No. We have come for a purpose. We are given a task. We have to do it. So if we don't do it, we have to either leave or kicked out. As simple as that. But then we are hopeful, because now we have a focus. We know where we want to be, and we know the path that we should take, and we are determined to make it happen.
All right, Admiral Jayanth Colombage, thank you very much for coming and talking to us. The first interview you were given as the as the Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, that's it for this Thursday night's program. I'll be back again at around 9:35 with World News. See you then. Bye.